Yes, that's right. I did a series of these videos last year, and I've decided to do the same for this year. So this is my January art dump video. So you're going to see me talk about all the stuff that I've drawn this month, basically. Yeah, and I'm going to start with this comment that I got, because I like to begin with any nice comments that people have, because people have just been so sweet and written some really nice things about my work. So this is from Starflight Dragonfly on Instagram, I believe. So that's Starflight_Dragonfly. I swear I love your art. They're all full of energy and expressiveness. So I was really happy to read that, and so I decided to show it here. And that's what I like to do every time I get a comment like that. I like to include it at the start of the video, of each of these videos, because I'm going to try and do one for each month of the year, as I did in 2019. So yeah, and let me show you the first thing I've got lined up for this one. And this is actually the most recent thing I drew. So this is Mark Zuckerberg. You can see this is just like an unfinished thing, because I did this for an art class, because I'm learning how to draw caricatures. I'm having a go, sort of dabbling in that a bit now. I think, because I don't draw a lot of people. Most of the stuff I draw involves animals, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about faces. And I got some really good advice on how to draw the kind of basic way to draw a sort of uniform, not very natural looking face. And that was a good place to start, like just knowing about things like spacing between the eyes. And it's funny because I got some great advice, and I must admit, when I was drawing this picture, I didn't go for accuracy, and you can probably see that it's not really. It doesn't look a whole lot like Mark Zuckerberg, but I think as it was my first go, I was thinking, like, I can either do this accurately, or I can just kind of let myself go free. Because like one of the things that I am really trying to get better at is just learning to let myself go a bit, and not be restricted to anything, because you do have to, because if you're doing something accurately, you have to follow a set of rules. And obviously with caricatures, the whole thing is about exaggeration. So I think you kind of spend a certain amount of time. You've got to think a lot about what the person actually looks like, and then work out what's worth exaggerating. Because I think, because I decided to give him really small eyes, but I didn't space them out that far. I think I wasn't quite brave enough to do that, because I just find that whenever I draw characters with their eyes far apart, it just never looks right. I don't know. There are a lot of things wrong with it, but it was my first. And by the way, I never told you that was for Draw Too Much. There's a YouTube channel called Draw Too Much by Tim Lee Michael. He's a great artist, and he has a Patreon, so I've been supporting him on Patreon and taking those classes. And here's the new Ask Ema title card. This is always, because so I did this webcomic called Ask Ema on Instagram. So my Instagram followers ask my OC a question, and I like to come up with like a little comic in which she answers the question. And the idea is that the first panel will always be a picture of her reading the question from this hologram projector. So this is the template for that, because I had a similar one for last year. So for all of the 2020 Ask Emas, it's gonna. There's my shut up phone. Sorry, that's a new phone that I've got. This is really. Oh dear. I'm gonna try and power it, so hopefully it won't make a noise now. That really threw me off. Anyway, so this is for the new season of Ask Ema. So whenever I do one, put together an answer, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see her reading the question. It's blank at the moment, but you can see the latest one up there now, the first one that I did for this year. Going well, isn't it? And also this one is for the end, where she says, there's a bit that she says, if you want to ask her a question, write one in the comments. And yeah, I've got lots of questions for this year, so I've got a lot of material to work with, and that's definitely a good thing. Because I think when I started this, I wasn't completely confident that that many people would be interested. Because I thought, I mean, hopefully, like the people who I kind of regularly communicate with will take an interest, because I have enough artist friends who kind of know my work, and we interact with each other quite a lot. But I think what this picture does to help, it kind of signals people into, like, if you just notice my work, you can be involved, and all you have to do is ask Ema a question. And it's getting to the point where I'm thinking, I might start seeing. I don't know. I might start seeing some repeat questions, but I'm trying to be creative. And even if a question is similar, I like to try and come up with a different answer. So as I say, I just need enough material to work with, and I'm really glad that so many people have responded. And so I've sort of switched things around. She's on the other side this time, and looking a bit more cheerful than she was before. So there are certain differences. I do have things. There are a lot of things I can nitpick about, and I'm really trying to think about what I need to avoid and things like that. And so this is a bit of fan art. This is for Raojin. I think I've talked about Raojin previously in the on these videos. Yeah, I've definitely talked about him previously on these videos, because I've drawn a lot of his characters. Why did I seem so uncertain about that? I mean, I've gone for a bit of a different style this time, because I kind of came up with a style from whenever I was drawing his characters. It was kind of in my style, but as it's fan art, there is also a bit of a blurred line between my style and the original style. And this character right here is called Christila, I think is her name. I think that's how you say her name. And I've been meaning to draw her for quite a while, because I'd seen a lot of pictures of her on Raojin's Instagram and everything. So I was thinking about this for a while, and when I got the opportunity, I went straight to it. I like how it's turned out. The highlights in the hair are okay, I suppose. Not completely logical, but I'm getting there. It's something that one of my real weaknesses is sort of hair reflection. So I'm definitely going to try and learn more about that. Also, the proportions are slightly off, and I think because this actually does demonstrate the problem I have with drawing clothing, because even though I think I don't tend to I get a bit impatient, because it's good to draw clothing over the character, if you know what I mean. Instead of the mistake I've made here is that a lot of the pieces of clothing she's wearing, I didn't think about, for example, how her forearms fit into those gloves. I mean, as she has her hands behind her back, but you can see the gloves that she's wearing, or like the braces. I think I'm not sure that because I don't think those go all the way to the palm of the hand. I don't know. Clothing is something to think about, and I think if you draw the body first and then draw the clothing over it, it's usually better, even if the clothing is quite tight. That's always a good way of doing it. And it was Addie's birthday this month, Addie Kids, and I've talked about Addie on some of these videos, and yeah, I did this as a little birthday gift, um, and yeah, because the funny thing is, this wasn't the first time I tried to draw her, because she's drawn a lot of pictures of herself, and I did this sort of try and learn, because yeah, she has sort of a certain way of drawing herself, like the way I've drawn her hair. That's based on a lot of the drawings that she's done. Because I don't even know if she wears her hair like that right now, but yeah, and also the glasses, they're really just shaped like the glasses that she does in her drawings. So it's sort of her avatar, I suppose. And yeah, I had a good time with this. I didn't give myself a lot of time to work on it, because I think I just started working on it the day before her birthday, and I managed to get it done in time, so that's good. And again, didn't do a terrific job with the highlights, but you know, I will think about that more. There are some bumpy lines there. It is quite rushed. I quite like the background. I think, cause I gave a bit of texture to the background. I've got into the habit of doing that, even though I don't. Here's the thing: I've watched a video tutorial where someone said it's always good to draw the background first, like if you're doing a comic or something, not so much this sort of thing, but it's good to draw things in the background and decide what kind of environment it's going to be before you draw the character. And the more I think about that, the more it makes a lot of sense. So I think that might encourage me to actually do some proper backgrounds in future. And yeah, because I even with this one, because this was, I was hoping to make this look more grand, but I did cut corners a bit. Anyway, so this is for the Femme Fatale Twitter, and I thought it'd be quite cool, because throughout that year I've been thinking, we're doing this. We have this Twitter account, and it's a parody account where all these fictional characters are tweeting. And they're in a band, and it might be fun if they talk about going on tour. And we've had them mention their tour a few times on the Twitter page. And I thought maybe we could end the year with a series of images that show the characters at different shows throughout the different nights of the tour. So yeah, here we have on the over on the left, that's Rita playing the guitar. In the middle, that's Claire Kitty, who was created by Julie Kitsuli, who's really talented, by the way. And we are working together. We're hoping to do some bigger projects with these characters, because we designed these characters together, this whole band. And that's Becca Bunny over on the right. You can't see much of her. I've tried to make it look a bit like a photo that someone's taken. So Becca's got slightly cut off, but you can see her drum kit. You can see the logo on the drum. So that was quite fun to do, and there are some more of those, and you'll get to see them. And I had this idea for Staria to turn me into a cat. That's what this is meant to be. I've been doing this on Twitter. And Staria is wearing a slightly different red dress than what she had before. I have been very fickle with her design, and I think, in a way that's a good thing, because I want to use all these drawings that I'm doing as like practice before I get to I keep thinking what I should do is I should gather together all the drawings that I like best and think like for these OCs it'll be a good way of being like, okay, here's how I'm going to draw them. Just take the parts that I like and just try and avoid the stuff that didn't quite work. So yeah, there's a bit of dialogue there. I don't usually talk about the dialogue because it's just right there. You can read it. I don't need to read it for you. I was really lazy with the background. The light switch was my one way of being like, okay, I want to make this look like a room to some description. Yeah, so this isn't really based on where I live. I suppose my walls aren't that interesting. There isn't really a lot I've put some pictures up and things like that, I suppose. So, I don't know. It isn't meant to look like my place. This one came out quite well. So this is a new character I created. Her name's Kiki, and she is a space pirate. Because I have my kind of chief OC is Ema. There are pictures of her in the background of this video. All those pictures in the background, they're of Ema and her friends. Because I just found that I think my two most popular characters seem to be Ema and Staria. So they exist in the same universe, and so I've been thinking of other characters that could be in the universe. And I'm thinking of, because as Ema is a police officer, I need some characters who are going to be like the perps that she has to deal with. And then I had the idea to bring in some space pirates, and so I had a bit of a think about what these space pirates would wear, and I think because she's wearing 2 wrist pods, those things on her wrists, they're like communication devices, and Ema and all of her fellow officers have one, just one on their wrist. But as Kiki is a pirate, she steals everything, so everything she's wearing is stolen from somewhere. That's why she has like a fighter helmet on, because I thought, I don't know if that's a necessity, if she needs protection, needs head protection, but I just like the idea of her slapping that on, and she don't care. It's she owns it now. I quite like how I drew the boots, because I don't often draw boots like that. I put a bit more effort into those, because I don't always think about where the sole, where the base of the shoe needs to go, and I worked that out all right, I think. And again, bit of texture in the background, because I think when I first put this up on Twitter and Instagram, it was a bit brighter. The color, there was a bit more color, a bit more vibrant colors, because this isn't exactly the kind of tone that it originally had. So I added a filter after that to give it a little bit more of a kind of dirty look, and that's why I kind of did the smears and stains in the background. Just made it a bit more grubby. This is another femme fatale one, and this is Kimmy. It's her silhouette. She can probably tell that she's a hedgehog. I think I did all right with the silhouette there. And there's a bit more atmosphere to this one. You can get a bit more of a feel of the environment. Because this was also for the Twitter, the same tweet, because I put 4 pictures in this tweet, and so that this was one of the other pictures. Kimmy was created by Julie, I think. I feel like I keep forgetting about her. Like I don't draw her quite as much as the other characters. I mean, I think Claire and Peggy are the two that I seem to be drawing the most. And this was a little bit hard to do, because she's standing in profile and she's playing a bass guitar, and you can probably see that I went a bit funny with the main body of the bass. It doesn't look completely right, because I haven't learned a lot about what do they call it. I've completely forgotten the term. There is a term. Anyway, because I need to watch more tutorials, I think. But I like this, and it wasn't too hard to do, because that sort of shading effect, I've done that a lot, and it's one of the easier shading effects. You don't really have to think so much about it. It's just about putting light around the edge of the character, and it is pretty clear how you need to do it. I mean, I don't know if it works quite as well, because the idea is that there's light coming from the distance. So I don't know. I don't know if I got that quite right, but I think it looks quite striking. It has quite an appealing look to it, and I like how this one came out. Because I did go for a bit more detail with this. Like you can see the people in the audience there, and I rushed that a bit, because the thing is, when you're doing silhouettes, it's easy to think, I'll just do like a scribbly outline and fill that in with black. But with these, I tried to think about them more the same way that I would with any characters that are not in silhouette. So you can see bits of detail like that bracelet that one of them has and the phone. Because if you look at the phone, I added the little line, little dot, and I think that helps to make it clear, because it doesn't make perfect sense, but little things like that I think really work. And I like how Claire and Peggy came out there. So I'm still kind of I'm a little bit fickle about Peggy's design, the way I do her face. Face and hair, I suppose. Hair is always a difficult one for me. I think I'm learning that these characters look better with not so huge eyes. I used to draw them with really big eyes originally. I've gone for a bit more cartoony, stretchy faces. I think like the way I was just looking at Claire's mouth there. There's something quite stretchy about it, because I never quite know how to draw mouths. I think her mouth looks good. Peggy's mouth looks a bit weird. It's funny how I'm not always entirely sure about what the best shapes are for mouths. So that's another thing. Got to think about all of these. Peggy has a bit of a weird arm. I really probably should have looked up, like maybe just photographed myself doing that or something. The way she's holding her arm up. I don't know. I had to play around with that a lot, because the first time I drew it, it did not look right. But speaking about drawing things that don't look right, this one is part of a little warm-up exercise that I came up with, and I really like to do this a lot before I draw anything. When I do my first drawing of the day, before I do that, I like to have a go at just drawing really badly, or just not worrying at all about how terrible it might look, and just going for it. And usually what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give myself something to as almost like a warning, or like a thing to be like a standard to set and be like, okay, there's the bar, I'm going to have to go higher than that. I have to, because if you have something that looks bad, you know what to avoid. You can learn from your mistakes, basically. That's what I'm trying to do. And so I'm thinking, if I can do that more, if I can give myself more drawings and just not be ashamed of them, and be like, okay, here are all the flaws right on this page, then I'll know what to do. And so this is the result of one of those, and I just I thought I'd add some colour, and I thought it would be one of the things that I would not my phone needs charging. One of the things that I would not put up on Instagram or anywhere. I mean, I put it in here just to show all of you what kind of exercises I like to do. So yeah, I can learn so much more from pictures like this, because even though it looks quite fun, it is quite quirky. I've left all my mistakes on there, like where I've gone over with the colour, where the colouring isn't very professional at all. But yeah, I think what I like about the eyes is that they are quite dynamic, and I think that is because I wasn't worried. I wasn't thinking too much about what's going to happen if I get it wrong, and just enjoy the experience. So it is a really good warm up, and it is just like a great way. I think you've got to give yourself a bit of time to draw stuff that doesn't look the way you want it to, because then you know what to look out for. So that's it. Those are the digital ones. Here are the sketches. So I drew this one. Actually, this one I drew during the Christmas holidays. And so we've got Peggy, Dee, and Jenna. So Peggy is one of the characters from Femme Fatale. And I had this idea that she was in a trio before Femme Fatale. So this is her old band, Corpse Flower. And actually, what I like about this is that because Peggy is supposed to be a skunk, and this is one of the few drawings I've done of her where she really looks like a skunk, like the way I've drawn her profile. Because I have found that I'm not the best at drawing characters in profile, and this works quite well, I think. I mean, maybe her eye is a little bit off. I think I've maybe put it a bit too low down, but I think because there's plenty of forehead. I think she does need that quite a big forehead. The way I've drawn the nose, I'm really happy with. Like, yeah, I should refer to this one a bit more because I've been working on a storyboard. This is a little glimpse into what we're doing with Femme Fatale. And yeah, I had a bit of difficulty working out the best way to draw Peggy in silhouette. So I think here is the kind of thing I'm going for because, yeah, as I say, I think she does. She really does look like a skunk here, and I think that that works the best. Because the other two are also supposed to be skunks, but I want them to look different. So yeah, I've not been completely confident with those ones. They look all right. I think that is roughly what I want Dee and Jenna to look like. But at the same time, they have to look like skunks, and I don't know if they do. I don't know if they're as skunky as Peggy in this drawing. So yeah, we'll see how all of that goes. Oh, and had a bit of fun with expressions because, yeah, I suppose I am starting to get better at making characters look cute and giving them these kind of expressions, and you can see I've really gone out of my way to try heavier lines above the eyes, like the part of the eye that and yeah, because it can give eyes a bit more dimension, make them pop a bit more. Yeah, and I've just been getting used to doing a bit more asymmetrical looks. I think also I'm going to try and make eyes, so try and do stretchy eyes and things, like have one eye really long and tall and the other one being squashed, things like that. And this is the original drawing of Kiki, because yeah, I think it's the other way around, isn't it? Because this is the thing that it is always helpful to keep flipping a drawing when you're drawing something digitally. You want to keep flipping it over to make sure that it looks okay both ways, and because you notice certain things when you flip an image over. If you mirror it, and yeah, I did that a lot when I was doing the digital version of this drawing, and yeah, ultimately I just ended up having her the other way around, which is just posing. Everything was the other way around by the end, and yeah, so that was interesting. I do find that sometimes I just don't think too much about which side is best, because the important thing is that everything looks in proportion both ways, whether it's flipped horizontally or whether it is just the original drawing. I'm really bad at explaining stuff. Like, this is stuff that should be perfectly simple to talk about. I just, yeah, when you're doing a digital drawing, you get to a certain point where you think this looks good, then you go to mirror image or mirror canvas or flip canvas horizontally, whichever option you get, and then you notice things. You start thinking, oh, hang on, maybe the head looks a bit squashed now, or maybe the eyes aren't quite level, or things like that. It's quite interesting. Did a little sketch of Marshall and Claire. So they're both from the Femme Fatale universe. You've seen plenty of pictures of Claire. Oh, excuse me. Marshall is her twin brother, and I think one of the things that me and Julie we were talking about these characters at one point, and she suggested that maybe because they tend to fight a lot, as part of the thing that they do. But she suggested that like maybe when they were younger, they got on really well. So I like the idea of them playing pirates, and so this is a sketch that I've done. And the thing is, because I'm really trying to think, because I want to make this a really, really cute drawing, and this isn't bad for a start, but I think the thing is that they're both looking in the same direction. I think I need to make it a bit more chaotic and have like one of them's looking one way, one of them's looking the other, one of them's looking really happy, one of them's looking really determined, like I'm a brave pirate, and just have fun with that. And this is just basically the idea. They're in like a box. I might have to work on that as well. I want to make it clear that they're not actually in a boat or anything. It's just like a suitcase or something. I don't know. That might be cute. And I did a few more practice drawings of the characters from Ema's world. So the one at the top is Heart. And I'm still trying to figure her out. I think because like I've drawn pictures of her before, but I tend to give her a more narrow lower part of the face, like her jawline. That is usually narrower. And so I might try and bear that in mind, because I think I prefer that look. Then there's Kiki. I've had another go at drawing her. I can't quite draw a helmet the same way. I seem to be forgetting how that's supposed to look, because it's supposed to look quite big, but it's meant to look like it fits her nicely. That didn't quite work out. And we've got Staria at the bottom, and I'm really bad at drawing hair, so I'm gonna. I think I just need to be a bit more patient with it, because I rushed that one. Now this is a character that doesn't have a name yet. She looks like Staria because she's basically like Staria's offspring. Staria creates this new person who's kind of like her daughter, because it's her creation. She's sort of the opposite to Staria, because Staria likes to create and this character likes to destroy. So she has a bit of a bad. She's not the most pleasant. I might have some more. Yeah, here we go. I've made her into a bit of a comic book villain, and I've tried on a couple of different outfits for her there, because I think the one on the right that's more like a dress is a bit more similar to what Staria wears, but it does look a bit more like a villain's outfit. So that's what I'm trying, and I'm trying to make her look similar to Staria, but also distinguishable. I want her to be like a different character. She's related, as we know. She's like her daughter. And now I have some sketches of Olba here. So Olba's quite an awkward character to draw. Like the way her head is shaped is pretty difficult, and I think because the line that I draw for like the back of her head, that's very squiggly, and I've been thinking about that, because I might make it a bit less squiggly just so that it's not quite so hard to get it right, because I think I've just made it too hard for myself to keep her looking the same way each time. And I still have a difficult time with bodies, especially the way I draw legs tend to be a little bit odd. Like, because I am better at drawing boots, because I think about a year ago when I was trying to sketch the design for the boots on these uniforms, I couldn't get the shape of the feet right, and it didn't look like. I think because it didn't occur to me how narrow boots get when they get towards the ankle part. So little things like that. So I'm quite pleased with the fact that I've managed to improve on that. And again, there's that drawing I did at the top. Olba sort of has a mouth open, and I don't know what I was trying to do there, but that's another example of how I do weird things with the mouths. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how mouths work. I think I've really got to learn. got to learn how that that stuff works. Like, there's just so many, because all the other drawings on here are of Olber with a very small mouth that's almost in exactly the same place in each one, because that's kind of her resting face. It's just that very small, serious mouth. Not quite a. She's not miserable. She's just very serious, and that's it. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I've been a bit like I think I need to go and take a nap, to be honest, because I've started to feel a bit drowsy and just not quite with it. But that was my first art dump video for January, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I do intend to make some more of these. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to the end of the year, because I did it last year. I'm really pleased about that. Yeah, and hopefully I will improve some more. I think. What I'm going to try and do is do more of those caricatures, because I think I'm going to be doing a class each month. I'm going to be taking a class each month, and so I'll post what I drew for that, and tell you what I learned in that session. Yeah, sorry, I'm really starting to lose it, I think. But this has been fun, and I look forward to doing the next one. Do take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Do take care. And I am not off to the pub. I'm going to go and take a nap, I think.